Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Destiny. I'm Narcogen for RampantZ.net.
I'm Blackstar Productions, and here we are continuing with King's Fall. And this is from your POV, right? So you'll see me bouncing around and dying often.
Yeah, now this is, we don't normally do these. This is not a live commentary. This is a post-commentary on videos that are going to be like highlights of some regular and some hard mode raid runs.
Yeah.
The original...
Because concentrating is too hard to do, and commentary while you're killing things.
That's actually not
hard.
at all. The idea...
I know, but I wanted to lie.
The thing I originally wanted to do was to record a blind run and then edit it out. But we had some problems with recording and problems with editing, and so we're doing it this way. Now, we did have a chance to do a blind run of this, though, at least up to... I think we got up to totems on our first real blind run. And then when we picked it up, we did a pseudo-blind run where I was kind of blind and other people knew what was going on.
Well, you're definitely blind using this, brute shot with a bag instead of a decent gun. That's supposed to be for later.
Through to War Priest. But I figured what I really wanted to do here was talk about the difference between a blind run, like doing it as soon as it's available with a group of people who none of them know how to do the raid, as opposed to going in later with a Sherpa who says, okay, stand here, do this, shoot that thing, then this is going to happen, and just tells you how to do it. And also to compare this raid to the previous two, to Crota's End and to Vault of Glass.
Yeah, I love the Vault. In fact, we've actually been playing lately because some people have actually been gotten new Xboxes for this past holiday season. And since then, there were, people who are new to the entire game as well as raids in general. So we've actually been doing raids with them in the Vault of Glass and a lot of the earlier missions to get them leveled up for it. And it's been a lot of fun, A lot of people were joking, especially about being able to use the old class style weapons and going through the same levels again. And everyone used to joke, say, hey, remember when Destiny was fun? So yeah, there's a lot of people remembering the old style of things and definitely having fun with it. But here, as you can see, yes, we're running around, we're collecting little balls.
Right, so here,
and
I've talked about this before in some of the other videos and in some of the other raids, is the idea that the Vault of Glass, all the raids have had some kind of a relic involved. And the first one, the Vault of Glass relic, basically didn't appear anywhere except in the raid. And there was nothing to teach you what it was or how to use it. And then when you move to End of Crota, not only is the relic a lot more self-explanatory, right? Because it's just a sword.
Ooh, there's a hit.
Yeah, but you've been using the sword all along because the blade of Crota, the blade of Crota guys were in patrol mode. You always got a chance to use the sword to practice out. So when it comes to using the swords, there are still some wrinkles, about using the sword to cross the bridge and defeating sword bearers and then using the sword on Oryx. There's still some things you have to learn, but nobody was going to pick up the sword and go, oh, I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
Because it was basic and you had lots of practice.
Yes.
And here
that was
also,
definitely an improvement.
This relic, which is the husk, the tomb husk, had also been introduced in the story missions.
And later on, though, it wasn't initially in stuff. They had added that feature.
Yeah, it wasn't in patrol, but they did add it into some of the story missions. So everybody who got into a raid had probably seen one before.
Right.
And as far as the other raids, I would say this one is maybe a little bit harder conceptually to figure out than the Vault, because the Vault I think was the simplest one. And that
I don't know, the relic in the Vault was kind of
I mean the
Nobody
opening.
wanted to use it.
I'm talking about just the first phase. So like the first phase of this one is the tomb husks and the portal, and the first phase of Crota's End is the abyss. And the first phase of Vault is just getting the outside door open, which is basically just holding the plates, which is just like a control game. And on the early runs of that, where we had problems, it was not figuring out what to do, because people pretty much knew, okay, we're going to stand on the plates, and the door is eventually going to open. Maybe we didn't know the exact wrinkles of
holding them for how long.
Yeah, how long you had to hold them, and what would happen if you lost them. But if you just stood on the plates and killed everything that came at you, the door would open. There was nothing else to think about. And in this one, there was a little puzzle element, which is figuring out that you needed to deploy the 2 husks on the same statue, because I think that was what held us up in our run for a few minutes. And they give you the little symbol, the half symbol, but I think for a while we still thought that you had to put, like, one of them would go on the statue with the symbol and the other one had to go somewhere else, and we spent time looking for another statue to put it on instead of just doing them both at once.
I would have thought it was a left-right thing, the way that the symmetry of where you had to go one side to one and one side to the other.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't one, and we got confused. And
right. Yeah, it's supposed to be a half. And I don't know how to do that, because no matter how you represent a half, it would still look to be either left, right, or top, bottom, or something that might look positional instead of the idea
also,
that, these two at once.
Yeah, with the statues here, you can see there's a left side and there's a right side. So, I mean, logic dictates that, that could be a possibility. See, if the husk itself was a half piece and there was only one receptacle to it, then, that would sort of make sense to me. But it wasn't quite obvious because the tomb husk was whole. But, we figured it out. A little basketball
and I'd say all the relics have been simpler than the Vault of Glass relic, which actually I have still...
a functional weapon that has many functions, you know.
Because it's never explained. It's never explained anywhere else, and even within the raid, it's used for different things. Like you use it for cleansing in both phases. But
now,
you
was there
use
much
it
in the
as
Grimoire? Was there anything explaining that in the Grimoire cards?
I don't know. I have to admit,
that's just it.
I'm way behind.
I don't know either.
I'm way behind in my Grimoire reading.
Me too, and to be honest, that was simply because how the dynamic of how the Grimoire was set up. It wasn't really conducive of long-term reading or catching up on. So the card system and everything, I don't think was the best way that could have been executed. So for me personally, if there's a lot of details in there, which there probably are, I don't know because I haven't perused them all. So.
I know. I've been watching a lot of Let's Plays of Dark Souls games, Dark Souls 1 and 2, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne, and I really wonder if it might not have been a good idea to take the Grimoire material, edit it heavily, and just put it in-game as something incomplete and mysterious, because the Dark Souls games do a great job of environmental storytelling that way. It's not cutscene heavy, it doesn't have audio logs or journals or a lot of text to find, they're just a few NPCs here and there who say mysterious things. You can't even call them conversations. But it's still, it still works really well, at least for me. Okay, so now we're on to the second phase.
Yeah, the jumping
puzzle. Which is the first part of the jumping puzzle, which is the pendulums.
Hated these the first time out.
Now, I actually, being a hunter, these are the only jump puzzles in the game that I ever liked, because doing the Vault of Glass jumping puzzle as a hunter is terrible. I've always hated it. You see here I'm also using the sword. I'm glad we've got swords to use now, because it really helps. I'm not going to... Am I going to make... No. I made it.
Yep. Yeah, lucky.
I love the way that looks. I realize it's nonsensical, that it doesn't make any sense for there to be a bunch of pendulums inside the Dreadnought. I don't know why there would be.
Think about it.
Or what the explanation could be, but I just like the way the room looks. And it's a bit of fluff. I mean, it's not really that hard to do those sets of jumps.
It was the first time with a broken controller. Yeah, see, this during the raid, I think this was before I got my new Elite controller, which is awesome, by the way. I'm sorry if I keep coughing. I think I'm coming down with a cold. The thing with the jumping puzzles is that I was having the worst time the first time doing this. One, because I'm terrible at jumping puzzles, but two, the controller that I had, unfortunately... Okay. Yeah, I didn't make that one. Unfortunately, was a little problematic on the A button. It was either disengage or not engage at all. And doing that with that, terribly, terribly painful.
Yeah, I got thrown off by the fact that everybody decided to jump on the ship without fighting any of the enemies.
Yeah, they just decided to bypass that.
And then I get killed by the adapter,
Yeah. But hey, at least Garibaldi forgot a legendary Ingram. That's what really matters. This jumping puzzle also for a hunter. I mean, I like doing this puzzle as a hunter, whereas I hate doing it as a warlock or a titan, just because every time I try to slow myself up to stop the damage, I end up slowing down too much and missing the target. To be honest,
with the hunter, it's real easy to do a little hop just before you land to scrub off all your speed.
Yeah. I tend to overshoot with the warlock. I tend to glide too much, and my target falls underneath me because their motion, my motion. I'm trying to calculate the landing position, and a lot of times, and this is really sad, I don't do very well if I'm with other players because you end up bouncing and ricocheting into people at the worst possible time.
Oh yeah.
So I tend to like to let people go ahead.
Last time we did it was just earlier this week on hard mode. I think 6 people made it through almost to the end.
Yeah.
All on the same ship, all on the same run, and then somebody did fall off, and I think they got bumped by another person.
We did hard mode just the other night, and I did it flawlessly, and people were remembering the most painful. Yeah, I know that was they were remembering the most painful times I had with it, so they were surprised when I was on the other side.
Why aren't these ships attacking? Actually, is this a hard mode run? I can't figure. Was the ledge just there? Or not?
I don't think so. No, actually. Oh, this must be a hard mode because there is no ledge and we haven't jumped on it yet. So this is a hard mode run. It definitely gives a new dynamic with the sword out, though. That is definitely a help.
Yeah, I always do that now. At least,
this one I always stay high left because I find that if you stay high left, because where you are and how high up the ship's angle is a significant factor depending on your character and jump. And if you target that corner, you're good.
See, I missed it.
Yeah, you didn't miss that one. Yeah, getting out early and hitting and literally attacking that corner gets you over the edge. Because there was a time when I was doing my hunter with this and I didn't have my triple jump. So trying to do this with a double was nightmarish.
Well, you should just put the boots on then.
I didn't. I had never had the boots. I had never had the Bones of EO. Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh, really? Oh, well."
So why aren't these ships? Why aren't these ships attacking? I mean, why are these ships even in here?
To jump on, obviously. Come on. I never understood this. This is like Grand Central. Where are you going?
Oh, I think I stopped paying attention. I was just kind of watching the scenery, and I didn't realize where I was, and I suddenly was like, oh, I need to be jumping now, and I didn't know where to look anymore because I had forgotten where I was facing.
Man, you're holding up the raid here.
Yep.
So now you're getting impatient. Now you're getting risky. I'll do it. Oh, I can't believe you almost didn't die.
I didn't even take any damage there.
No, I know. I'm just gauging that third-person height.
No.
Oh my god. I think at this point we were probably all screaming. And this one's going to be coming low front on the right.
This ride was so long that I think I just kind of got bored and stopped paying attention to where I had to go next. And then I was facing the wrong way when it finally did appear.
So you didn't see it.
And so now I can tell I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, I can't remember where I screwed up, so I'm not looking where it. I'm trying to remember where it's supposed to be.
Ah, there we go. Finally, now don't goof it. Oh man!
Yeah,
and
like some of the people who wait for the ship to dock before jumping off.
Yeah. Oh, geez, even that was a little early. Yeah, I've seen people, completely goof it right off to the end there. So here we are, all waiting. The other end, and now normally you'd be sitting on plates, but now we can't. Oh wait a minute! Oh, Garibaldi waited too. Okay, all right. So we're triggering the plates to let people through the door.
Right.
So now you see us going through the door, and then we'll go get them cleared.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I don't remember how this goes. Like sometimes I just land this jump the first time and have no trouble getting up to the door, and then sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Again, I would say this is something I can't think why that I have better luck with this jump with the Hunter than I do with Warlock.
Because I find with my Warlock and the Titan I can glide much easier. In fact, my Warlock is probably easiest because it's almost as if you're hovering like a drone.
I always misjudge it. I always misjudge it. First of all, I don't remember. Right, I'm gonna eat my words in a second when I die here. Right, but.
Yeah, you done way too early there.
Nope, made it.
Oh, you made it. Nice.
And no problem. And what happens is that I think I start to glide too early with the Warlock, and I fall short because I scrub off all my forward momentum.
I think for me the Warlock the hardest part is because I'm imagining being able to stick out my feet forward to put them on whatever ledge I'm in front of, and you physically can't do that. It's like your feet are completely straight up and down, and there's no, lateral or forward movement with them. Therefore, if you don't hover over the target, you're not going to hit it, even if you're inches away. And I think that's what messes me up when I target these things. Okay, here comes steel. Yay! So if we did our job right on the other side, we stepping on plates and allowing you to come through the door.
Right.
Yay.
Now, by comparison,
and get moldering shards.
By comparison, right? If this were the vault, once you've made it past the first phase and gone indoors, then there's then basically just a walking phase, and you come out and it's a major combat sequence, which is the battle against the gatekeeper. And in Crota's End, again, once you've made it past the abyss, there's fighting all through that, and there's a big fight at the end of that when you're trying to get on the bridge, and then you go right into the bridge segment, which is another big, combat and puzzle section. But here we've had one kind of light puzzle, light combat, and now we've done a bunch of jumping stuff, and there's been hardly any combat. There's just a few units like that one that killed me just before the ship there.
Yeah. To be honest, I wish there was more opportunity to explore this, because this does give you the sense of large, giant spaces, but even like this is the first section you'd really think of wanting to explore. But no, it's just a hallway, you just run through it.
Yeah. And so this is the first real combat section.
Challenge, yeah.
And it's not even a boss fight. And this was as far as we made it on our true blind run. We went into it the first time, the first weekend it was available. We were, I think, 270 light, which is about like 10 or 20 points below what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, so we were under-leveled for it.
And so we were under-leveled, and we had to figure out the mechanic, which is fairly complicated in this room. Yeah. But what I found interesting was that we were mostly doing it. We failed to execute, I think, just because we just kept dying. But also, what I found interesting was that you could have the wrong idea about what the mechanic is and still be doing enough of the actions right to get
at the right time
progress. Yeah. Because I got to admit, I was not clear when we started doing this that the important thing was getting the buff and returning to the center platform with the buff. Yeah. I thought that the door was being opened by standing on the totem. And we knew you had to stand on the totem to not die. And we knew the totem had to be passed like a relay race baton. Because the messages were telling us enough about that. But I almost thought that running to the middle with the buff was kind of a fluff thing. I mean, at some point I wondered that the only reason you had to stay away from the totem was that the buff kept you from getting the aura again.
Right.
Like that you had to go to the center and lose the buff so that you could come back and get the aura. Because I was focused on the brands. It's actually a brand in the section, not an aura, but never mind.
Yeah, the goofy names mess with me a lot, especially with reference to things, because they don't have obvious titles. People say brand, I think of either, branding cattle or brand name or
so now something. I've got that singer's power times 10, and I'm running to the middle. And here was the bit where I think this bit is more important than I thought it was. I thought you had to come here, you had to kill ads, because if you didn't kill ads, they would swamp the totems, and that the Death Singer buff, whatever it is, would make you ineligible to receive the brand, and you would interfere with the relay passing between the other two players. So here, I don't have it anymore. I've gone to pick up some ammo, and we're swapping places. And I think when we did it the first time, we really didn't understand how the mechanic was working, but we were still mostly doing it. It's really just a question, though, of maximizing how much time people get with the buff, the Death Singer's buff, on the center platform, because that's what's opening the door. And we didn't get that the first time. We knew it was a relay. We were swapping positions properly, but we weren't gauging the progress towards door opening right, because we were focusing a lot on the
combat.
Yeah, we were focusing on the combat, and basically those knights were killing us.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And when we realized that the timing sections, as soon as they come out the door, if you have a high-powered sniper and you can headshot them, and even if you wait, it's actually better to wait, kill that, so that the person who's still standing there can concentrate on the other ads. That actually helps a lot. So even on hard mode, it hasn't become too much of a problem for this stage. It's usually afterwards that
and this bit
becomes problematic.
This bit is no different on hard mode, is it? I don't think there are even any changes
not
here, are
really.
there?
Well, I think there's more knights and there's more yellow knights.
Oh yeah, but I mean the essential mechanic doesn't change.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything more or less.
Different.
Yeah. And strangely enough, I'm not sure exactly in this stage how much of the extra buffs or subclasses come into play very much. I do know that the hammer throws a lot of times people will use and help, and they do drop Titan bubbles to help give people bonuses when fighting some people. So that definitely helps there. But usually don't see a lot of tethers. In fact, your tether there, I think that was the first one I'd seen in quite a while.
Really?
At this stage, yeah, I don't see people doing Night Stalker very much in this one. It's usually Titans and Warlocks. Yeah, well, at least in my experience.
Well, I saw a lot of tethers.
They use tethers for
at first
through the door,
and people were doing a lot of tethers on Golgoroth until somebody figured out that melting point for Titans was better, and that they didn't. They either interfered or they didn't stack. One of them. I know that they don't stack.
Here we run out of primary a lot. Notice that you just ran out simply because we're stuck in places and can't replenish.
Yeah. Well,
and that
also
becomes problematic
just
with all
using the supercell, that tends to happen anyway. Frankly, just because it
does it with a lot of the primary auto rifles.
It's really good for some things, but some of the encounters in this, the supercell is not that great for. It's just that it happens to be my highest light value primary,
right?
And that in addition to the perks that generate orbs. So I'm kind of stuck using it in this case because if I don't, my light level will drop significantly. Whoa,
now here we got some close night issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do keep
this
a
is where
sword.
Swords come in handy.
Yeah, I do keep a sword for this. So
I
basically,
don't use my sword as often as I should, to tell you the truth. I really, really don't.
Oh,
I tend to think of heavies as rockets and machine guns.
No, I don't. For totems and War Priest, my heavy is almost always a sword.
Yeah, I need to start doing that.
Well, actually, I should correct that because people are going to go, "What? You're an idiot." No, that's not true. I started out doing War Priest with the sword as a heavy because I was using it to take out the knights when they appeared, the yellow bar knights.
Yep.
But it's useless for actually putting any DPS on the War Priest, so I stopped and had to go to a machine gun.
Right.
It's not a big deal, but I think when I started, I was trying to use the sword and trying to put damage on him just with sniper.
Yeah, just like you would for the Vault of Glass run, where sword damage on the end boss and everything was a big thing. Yeah. Not that it was your sword, but it was another sword.
Right.
So the logic does carry over.
Yeah. But I like this fight, and I like this mix of puzzle and fight. Maybe more than most of the stuff in Crota's. I guess
I like
the bridge
it when we don't goof
sequence is the comparison.
Hey, look, there you got a Slayer shell. And
this is where I finally got it.
I'm just disappointed with a lot of the raid weapons. Their main function is just to level up weapons you do like or are more effective. Yeah, you got another fusion there.
Yeah, I think I get rid of that too. Also, I have to figure out, is the only difference between the harrowed raid weapons and the regular ones, is it light level only? Because I also got
no, they're black. They're a black model design instead of the white bone model design. It's cosmetic. Yeah.
Okay, because I ended up getting another raid sniper.
Yeah, same with the armor.
And the harrowed raid sniper, which is Harrowed Defiance of Yasmin. But the thing is...
Yeah, they're like 310 and up, I think.
I think I'm just going to infuse the lower one with the higher one, though, because the regular raid sniper has Firefly on it, and the harrowed one does not.
Yeah.
At least the ones I got.
Okay,
so this is where the pseudo blind run came to an end because I was away from the game for a bit and everybody learned the raid and I still had not done any more of it and so we came through to this bit.
Yeah, we wanted to let you figure it out.
And we tried to play a bit like, okay, let's try to go through and see if I could figure it out just by looking at the room and by running the encounter a few times with nobody telling me anything.
Right.
And that broke down basically when I had... the last element I couldn't guess was that the indicator for knowing which platforms to stand on in which order was actually on the back of the obelisks, not on the front, because it never occurred to me to to walk up to that side and look at that stage from that side.
I remember the first time we were running this thing, we had actually gotten hung up on, the position of things, the type of runes and where they were, and,
yes.
and we thought it was a lot more complicated than it was. We were expecting something deep and puzzle rich and
having
all
to
kinds of different
decipher.
things.
Yeah, like maybe having to decipher the runes, or maybe have to look at the runes and compare the runes on one obelisk to the other, or even a simple
center,
thing
that's all it is.
like the way a door would be in Skyrim, where it's just kind of a matching puzzle. You're like, oh, okay, you match this symbol here to that symbol here, and that's how you know which. But there was nothing actually like that.
Nope.
You just have to be standing on the War Priest side of it. But this also brings up another thing I wanted to talk about, which is boss fights and boss fight designs.
Bungie will never ever do a boss fight. Oh, wait, yes they will.
Well, they did, starting with Halo 2, if you think about it, because
and they said they never would, and that changed rather quickly.
Because the one thing I never would have thought, looking at that fight after we punch a prophet on his floating chair, that well, we've seen the future of Bungie game design now, because all of it's going to be, because now basically, if you think about it, boss fights are basically all they do now. It's the major component. It's the component of the raid. It's the major component of strikes, and even some of the story missions.
Yep, and a lot of the similar characters, are just larger
around boss fights, and it's kind of weird to me because the bosses seem to be getting less and less
impressive.
Mobile. I mean, like this guy is not too big that he can't walk around, but he stays up on his stage and does not come up. I don't know why.
Well, this is also where you see the tethering. I mean, to be honest, if he could walk around everywhere and have free roaming range of everything, you would die. It's as simple as that. If he didn't move, then you have a chance.
Right,
if he did move, you were doomed.
They've made the enemy so powerful that if he actually behaved in a way that made sense, it would be too hard to kill. So why isn't he weaker but more mobile? Why can't he chase you around the stage, I guess?
Yeah, for people to say that these kind of targets aren't bullet spongy, though, I'm sorry. This is the definition of bullet spongy, where everyone and their cousin is constantly firing at it for 20 minutes.
Because I look at stuff like, see here I've got a sword as a heavy, which means basically I'm only going to be able to damage the War Priest with the sniper. Yeah. And then I've got primary after that, unless I switch. So basically, I'm dependent on everybody else to put damage on the War Priest.
Well, you're not doing bad. I mean, you're doing 13,000.
Yeah, but my sniper is empty now, and so if I don't do a synth or pick up some ammo, then I'm gonna be short.
Yeah, synths here are a little hard sometimes.
I think on normal mode it was kind of okay. It didn't matter that not everybody had to be putting that much damage on him.
Right.
But I think this probably is the last time I used a sword as a heavy in this fight.
Now, the thing is that the different dynamic between this and the Vault, though, is that when the Relic Runner, he has a chance to actually use that shield to defeat and kill enemies and whatnot in a particular interesting way, while also protecting and cleansing his teammates. That, to me, was an interesting function, and I kind of like that. And once I understood it, my only problem with that is I wish that they had figured out a way to incorporate that in the gameplay beforehand so you knew what to do with it, rather than having trial and error and goofing things for your friends. Whereas in this one, you get the aura, or the brand, or whatever they call it, and you have the same space in which your friends are increasing damage on the target, but the problem is you have to spend time away from concentrating on the boss. You've got to go around and kill ads, and if there are no ads, you lose it, and then it gets randomly tossed to your friends. And I think the subtlety in which that is applied to you is terribly problematic in heavy combat
now I've got nothing to shoot the War Priest with except primary, and there are several people dead. And so I'm trying to do a synth. I'm trying to do a synth during the brand. This is awful.
No, that's not much cover with that.
But there's also only 3 of us alive here, so I don't think there's any chance. Yeah, and now only 2 of us alive. Oh no, okay, there was 4. There was 4 of us. Now 3 of us. Now 2 of us.
Funny, it looks like Disciple killed you. Yeah.
But I was thinking of stuff like the Scarab. Like the Scarab in Halo 2 really was kind of a static scripted thing, right?
Yep.
And then in Halo 3 it opened it up. They gave it a bigger stage. They made it more mobile. It actually was like a thing that was chasing you around. And then you've got the spider tanks now in Destiny, But they're practically immobile. They don't move at all. They get drops.
They're not practically immobile at all. They are immobile. You might as well have stuck it on the stick and have it spin.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. When I first saw the bug tanks or the spider tanks, depending on how many legs you want to count, those little 2 in the front count as 8. It'd be a spider. If they don't, it'd be a bug. But either way, yeah, those things, unfortunately, to me, were terribly disappointing because, one, I couldn't pilot
You can't drive them, yeah.
I wanted to drive that thing the moment I saw it. I was like, oh my god, that would be epic, and couldn't do it. Second thing was that, yeah, they just kind of sit and spin. And that, to me, as far as an actual combat weapon, doesn't really work. And I think that for the same reason you see the War Priest not move off that stage is because if he could, you'd all be dead.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, to me, is not great
maybe they really
gameplay.
just ought to make those guys a little less powerful. I'm watching myself now, and I'm hoping that I'm going to change my heavy away from the sword, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to do it.
What's the highest point? Yes, you don't have your Suros up. Your Hawk Moon's at 310. So yeah, did you go?
But
pistol heavy?
Hawk Moon is pretty useless in this section here, and Touch of Malice isn't leveled up here, and I also don't like it because it's easy to kill yourself.
Your Black
I only
Spindle.
use it for
Why don't you
orcs.
infuse your Black Spindle? You got a couple of fusions you could have infused your Black
I don't like
Spindle
Black
with.
Spindle. I'm not accurate enough with the sniper to make use of the perk, so
I just call it
I'm
Black
usually
Hammer.
using 1,000-yard stare for everything.
I refuse to call it Spindle. I'm only using it here because I don't want people to think I don't know what it actually is. But no, I just call it the Black Hammer, simply because Spindle is a silly name.
Yeah,
for
I
such a
don't.
nice
I don't
weapon.
use mine. I don't use mine much because basically, I just don't. Whether it's a lag or just my own lack of ability, I just don't. I don't proc the perk enough to make it worthwhile.
I think you need to level that puppy up, and I think you'll get
It's
some
not.
love.
It's not going to make me land more headshots to level it up.
You need to get better with it. Yeah, no, I use it all the time, and I get some great damage with it.
All right, so
I love the reload perk on that thing.
Atheon doesn't move around much.
No,
and
Crota sleeper simulant. Oh my goodness, he's a joke now. I hate to say it. I mean, people. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I did one of those where everyone was running sleeper, and you kill them in less than a round. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, less than. I mean, we're talking seconds. I think somebody timed it. It was less than 6 or 7 seconds.
You can actually do it now without times vengeance at all, right?
Yeah.
You can just bypass it entirely.
Yep. It's
sad.
sad.
But that's not it. It's just that I don't know. It seems less threatening because they are so immobile. And also, Crota moves, but he moves on a schedule. He only moves left and right.
There's no random element with it, which I guess is a good thing or a bad thing, because if it was random, it would irk you when you'd fail because of something unexpected.
Oryx, strangely enough, Oryx in the boss fight at the end of the raid, obviously he's much bigger, but because of that, it's really like watching a boss in a JRPG, right? It's this big thing that moves around.
Yeah,
it's almost like a stage prop.
Turn-based combat.
Whereas in the final story mission, he's extremely mobile. I mean, okay, there's still the bit where you fight the Shade and the Thunderdome, and so that is like the fight in Regicide, and Oryx is mobile in that sense.
That one I kind of like, to tell you the truth. I don't have any major issues with that particular encounter. In fact, I prefer that as opposed to running around like an idiot with those explosions that chase you. I find that dynamic rather silly. To tell you the truth, I would prefer to fight something even if it is in an enclosed space.
Yeah, see, and this is what I started doing on regular mode, because it wasn't really necessary that I do a lot of heavy damage on the War Priest in order to be successful. But in hard mode, it really is. What I was focusing on was getting rid of these knights as quickly as possible, and that's what I was using the sword for. But it's
what's funny?
It doesn't really work.
Yeah, you know what's funny is you always go right here.
Yeah, I pretty much always play right side.
Yeah, I always play upper left because the bottom is a kill box, and the right I don't have enough sight lines.
The bottom is hard. I personally think right is the easiest.
Really, I find upper left
so.
Easiest.
Yeah, no, it's too open.
What?
It's too open.
No, I like sight lines. See, the thing is, you can notice approaching targets, but the thing is that they only have two walking approaches to you. One is up the ramp, and two is if they later they spawn behind you. That's the only thing I don't like about that. But the War Priest, you are completely covered by his attacks over a couple of the chest-high walls.
Now,
and I like that.
Did I die there because I had the buff and I didn't realize it?
I think so. That does happen a lot. There is no giant, obvious, you're holding whatever, because everyone is in this big red aura, so you're visually concentrating on targets. You're not looking at your lower left-hand screen.
Yeah, there is a text message. Okay, yes, and the thing that's killed me, at least it says Brand of the Initiate.
Yep.
So I did have the brand, and instead of looking for ads, which actually is the only that's the only thing I find that's actually harder to do on the right-hand side, is that it's harder to find the ads to shoot. It's much easier to shoot him.
Yeah, he uses that captain attack here with the glowing ball of death in the hard mode as opposed to other ones. So that is definitely a change between the easier level and this one. The other one is the Yellow Knights, and the other bit... What was the other one? Because I think there was one other thing that was also different at this stage for the hard mode. I think I forget. Somebody put it in the comments below.
I think there are just some extra ads. Like I think there are some thrall that come up. Like when you're on the right side, there are some thrall that come at you from behind you on your left that aren't there in normal mode. That's the only other thing I noticed, really. So yeah, actually, it tells you that Brand of the Initiate is what killed me in this case, which really makes me wonder because I died in a hard mode we did the other day, and it just said misadventure.
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay. It says Brand of the Initiate held 9 seconds. So basically, I had the brand. I shot the boss for 9 seconds. I didn't realize I had the brand because maybe I think maybe two of us stepped in the thing at the same time, but I didn't think I was first. So.
Well, here you're switching up your primaries here. Here you're actually using Black Spindle, but you've also switched over to your Amalon primary here.
This is going to be ugly. But at least I did get rid of the sword.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think they asked me to switch to the middle, so this is probably not going to go well at all.
No, it's probably going to be terrible. Yeah, because it's basically a kill box, and with the giant rocks here, I've seen techniques where people are far more inclined to go forward, so they're not in line of sight of the boss at all and stand by the doors, and then they just have to deal with the swamping amount of enemies that come through those. Standing back like this, see, he's firing at you already.
Yeah.
And you do become a target on several sections where you will be fighting. So a lot of people, they just move completely forward to get under that shelf line, and he no longer becomes an issue.
Yeah, I think the problem here actually is that the scout rifle would be better off for me on the right hand side, but actually down in the bottom, probably the supercell would work out better. Because the problem I'm having with the supercell really is that if you get the
chain anyone.
If you get the chain effect working, it's fine, but it's harder to get it when they're all in cover. You got to kind of hope you hit the one guy who's exposed and hope that it chains to the rest. But at anything beyond mid range, that weapon's not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, disciple. Yeah, seeing those launching shots from the War Priest here, that's devastating in several areas where you want to be. And I think that's by design. And of course, once those obelisks start to go, then he's going to be a lot more open.
Yeah, see how much longer it takes to get rid of the knight with the machine gun.
Yeah.
Than it does with the sword.
Rune Wake, I think you're using there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much been my go-to for heavies. Although I did get a couple of 320 weapons in the last raid we did. So
I've been using Quillum constantly. Here we got the Titan up. Yeah, see, look at that.
Yep, but I didn't get those. Did not count as headshots at all.
I know.
I did not get the perk at all.
Terrible with it. Well, yeah, but it's 14,000 as opposed to 13,000. So yeah, that's definitely a plus.
Not a huge difference though.
I've gotten 20 with mine in certain.
Okay, so there I did get it.
There I got it. 10. Okay. Yeah, but see how not having to reload and just continuing to go when you hit him is great. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't step back to get the Titan bubble either. Yep. Yeah, he's immune. So yeah, no, that's a much better run. I think the pumpkin head definitely comes in handy with Funk. That was probably why we. Wasn't Zero. Was it me?
I don't know. Somebody died there. I just couldn't see who or why.
Let's go back and
no,
play the footage again. Doesn't matter. We're gonna go on anyway. Yeah, you can tell we were doing this during Halloween. So,
actually, I still have a bunch of those. I still have a bunch of the with the vials.
Oh, I've got a billion.
And,
you know what's sad?
pumpkin heads.
I had some of the originals, and I didn't clear them out until just before Halloween the next year.
Yeah,
and then I got a ton more.
Yeah, I had a bunch of packages that turned red. It's also weird, actually, is that in my vault I have a bunch of the blue masks that I haven't glued, and I think if I transfer them to a character, they're going to break immediately. So they're just sitting there. They're just sitting there in the vault. I don't have any glue.
Oh, there are more than one wizard. That was the other thing. There were two wizards instead of one, wizards, I think. Yeah. Yeah, the other thing is that unfortunately messes up a lot of your combat, because the way the model works, for some reason in TTK, having that on the pumpkin on your head messes up your camera. So him doing in the raid, yeah, he's totally being goofy.
Yeah, see, here I'm at a loss for what to do with the knight. I don't have enough heavy ammo.
Yeah, you gotta reload everything else.
Everything else needed to be reloaded. I knew if I tried to take him out with Spindle, I was gonna die.
Oh, lift sequence is up. Yeah, now that obelisk is gone, he's got a clear line of sight on you.
Yeah, and this is not challenge mode, which basically means I'm saying I'm not stepping on anything, which is why that didn't make sense that first time that I died with the brand, because I wouldn't have voluntarily done it anyway.
Yeah, stepping's a misnomer though, because even jumping over counts, and I think a lot of people during combat when they're bouncing around everywhere.
Maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's what happens.
That happens a lot. People don't quite get that, and that's a bad place for that bubble.
Yes, that is a bad place for that bubble.
That protects the bad guys.
I forget why that happened.
I don't know either, but he's
probably
down there.
Probably whoever placed it had to save themselves.
Could be. Give him that benefit of the doubt.
But yeah, it was really funny actually. The last time we did this hard mode with the challenge run, we actually finished it when I had the brand, which is weird because usually me having the brand means death. But I had it, and I knew I had it, and it turned out we made it. I think just at the end of the last sequence, or the last chance we had to do it.
Okay, so here we're getting into the next stage of it, which of course is Taken. Now fighting Taken, which is definitely nice. You know, it's a progression in difficulty with different types of targets. So your style with one necessarily won't work with the style of the other, which is good. I like that.
And the Taken continuously spawn here, or is it just in Golgoroth that they do that?
Golgoroth, after a certain point, they will continue to spawn. This one, I think, is still wave related.
Waves, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The funny thing, though, is that when you think about it, a lot of this, I think the design of these came from the original Vault of Glass enemies, the, what's my talking about?
Vex?
Oh, no. Well, the Vex that you deal with at the end. Oh, I'm pulling a blank. The harpies and everything that they change colors on.
Oh.
Because that's
the
you design
mean that they took the Taken aesthetic from the Gorgons and
thank you, Gorgons, yeah. The Gorgon style was, I think that was the first time in the game you'd actually seen them with that model where they'd actually taken the
inverse monochromatic look.
Yep, no pun intended. Yeah, they had taken that style and then applied it somewhere else and put it to all the other characters and enemies and not just one. So yeah, so when you meet those for the first time, I think they said, hey, why don't we apply that particular dynamic to everyone and come up with a whole new bad guys. And yeah, it works really interestingly. I can't say I enjoy fighting the Taken that much, but it does expand on.
I was a bit suspicious of them because it felt very much like a Blizzard Diablo palette swap thing. Where after you've seen every enemy in the game, you then see them 2 or 3 more times with a different color scheme.
Right.
At least the Taken have different behaviors, so it isn't.
Oh, totally. Behaviors, weapons, styles. Yeah, it isn't, and that's what I think it saves them.
Because Diablo 2,
I survived the longest.
in particular, just has, you'll go through a bunch of levels and then you'll come out into another one and they'll be the same enemies over again, except now they're green. And there's no other discernible differences. They're tougher and they're different color.
Yeah, you felt a lot of that in Halo after a while, where you were fighting certain targets that the models were exactly the same, and the only thing different was the color. And I thought the brute shot or should I say the brute plasma rifle, I thought was
the red one.
The red one. It's like, ooh, we changed it from blue to red.
I didn't think there was too much of that though. Like there's some elites and grunts always had a hierarchy that was based on color, and then it goes back to just marathon, which has the same thing. But the brute
shot is a completely different type of weapon with a completely different type of character. That was great to suddenly give them the rifle and say, okay, well now it's red. That to me was lazy. That to me was, okay, we're totally going to phone this in because we don't want to make a whole nother weapon here. Whereas the brute shot was exactly that. It was a whole new weapon with whole new dynamics and style and changed up gameplay and was different. So for them to apply that same thing with the enemies, I think that's where the inspiration came with one, but they're totally different as far as how they function and
Destiny's weapon philosophy is a lot more like the red plasma rifle because you've got the classes of weapons, right? Which is you got your snipers and your scouts, your pistols, your auto rifles, your pulse rifles, your machine guns, and your rocket launchers. But within each one of those are all the individual variations, and even in an individual
model. And if you compare them a lot,
there are the different perks. So that's a lot like saying, okay, well here's another plasma rifle, except it's red. It fires faster, but it heats up quicker.
Right.
And it's more
but here
inaccurate.
It's hidden more so that you can actually compare two weapons with the exact same specs as far as damage and reload and all the criteria. But in actual gameplay, they feel and look and sound different, and I think that's the key. Okay, so here we are with more fun with brands.
Yeah, I think this is good. This is going to be the successful run, I think.
We certainly hope. We're just starting out, so I can't say we're out when
I'm pretty sure that we're coming to the end of the first part
19
video, and I'm pretty sure that I ended it on the successful run.
Yeah, here I think we're doing a lot better. I don't know what we're changing up here. See, I never use heavy simply because see how long it takes to reload there?
Yeah.
I hate having to wait that long.
Well, if I had it reloaded before the damage sequence started, then it would have been okay. But
yeah, we got a lot more damage this time around, I think, than any of the others. Yeah, he's already gone into nasty mode already.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think we did that as well on the other runs.
Now he is not a taken unit. Why is he using a taken attack like that?
Copy paste. No, I'm sorry. I think that was a popular idea that they used with the captains. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I kind of hate those, especially in close quarters, because getting blind in the middle of combat, while maybe terribly effective for them, it's not really enjoyable for me as a gameplay. But yeah, I think they needed to come up with something, and they said, hey, why not this? And yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of that personally, but I can see why they did it. They needed something to fill that particular space at this moment to change it up, rather than just the blast from his cannon there.
Yeah, see, the problem here is that if I use the heavy on this knight, then I may not remember to reload it fully, or I may not have it ready, when the sniper runs out.
Right.
On doing damage to him.
Quick, get that blue engram.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot resist doing that. If it's really risky, I'll say no, don't do it. But a lot of times, especially if there's ammo near it, I'll say, well, I'm just going to get the ammo.
Yeah. Ooh, shiny. So, yeah, so here we are with more plate, brand, middle.
Okay, and the bubble gets a better position here.
Yeah,
although, I start off, I'm firing. See, I don't realize I'm inside the bubble. I'm actually not hitting him because I'm inside the bubble.
Oops. Yeah, somebody in a bad position on that. Oh, we might actually get him this round. I think you gotta put stability a little bit more on that. That was a good one. That one's alright.
Yeah, see, we're not going to get him this round. Although, actually, see, it looked like he was off. Maybe.
Go.
Yep.
Yeah, see, now waiting to reload there would have been a mistake. There we go. We got
exactly.
him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Because it wouldn't have worked. I don't know if it would have made a difference, but I know I wouldn't have been putting damage on him.
And look at the timing of that. We actually got it as the Oculus was firing up, so that looks a little different than normal.
Well, that's pretty much exactly what happened that last run that we did the other day. Was that the Oculus was getting ready. I thought the round was over. And then he died.
Well, you know what's funny? Because actually going up with Golgoroth's Cellar, there was actually, I think, 2 separate game types that we did, where we had literally got it as the blackness was cowering around us, and the screen was literally almost black. And we pulled it out of the fire, and we ended up killing him. And that was a great one, because the pressure on there, everyone was going blind. We're all standing in front of him, shooting away, and we literally get it just as we're about to go completely black. It was great. I kind of wish I had footage of that one. In fact, I may. That might actually be in my Xbox DVR. I gotta go check. So, here, checking out your gear.
Yeah, I did not.
Wow, you got a 319 shell pretty quick.
Well, I had gotten it before this run, I think. So this probably is not the first hard mode run. It may be the second.
Oh, or third, or 19th.
No. I haven't done it that many times. In fact, I've still never finished it because
really.
Yeah, because we did a bunch of runs, and then people started doing the challenge thing, where they're doing it to do the challenge, and then they don't care about finishing Oryx after all, because you get better loot from doing that week's challenge mode than you get for finishing the thing on normal hard mode. So basically, the only time people now are bothering to finish it is when the challenge is Oryx.
Well, see, now that may be one of the weaknesses where you get rewards better for beginning parts than end, so there is no motive to finish. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, in fact,
so first part of the raid.
Yeah, so the next part is actually going to wait until I get a completion, because I don't have footage of some of the next segments. I have lots of footage of Oryx, but I don't have footage of the maze and the other stuff between Golgoroth and Sisters. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so we'll have that for next time.
That'll be next time. See you then.